Hi, everybody, and welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. But this is me, Oberon, with my weekly show, The Exchange, the Emotional Exchanges, Oberon's outlook on the emotional exchanges. My weekly forecast with tarot and astrology to determine the emotional things that are going on in your life. So to get started, we usually start with a collective thought of the week, and I mostly used Egyptian-themed cards and oracles. So I'm going to use the Isis Tarot, which is not really a tarot, more like an oracle or fortune-telling deck. And I'm just going to randomly pull a card, and that will be our collective thought for the week. And today's a special day because my show is being produced by the Banshee. This is her first time producing the show, so let's all wish her a lot of luck. And my card for today is Mercury, number 1. I've never pulled this card before, so let's see what that meaning is for us. An alert and swift spirit, conciliator of oppositions by mediation. That sounds like Mercury, all right. And you know we are going into Mercury retrograde. I just had to say that. The magician who connects heaven and earth, the higher and lower self. Self-assertive, power of conviction, eloquence, able and full of tact while handling unknown situations. That definitely sounds like Mercury. So I think that as a thought for the week, be that Mercury, be that kind of person who connects things, who is a messenger, who navigates those rhythms and energies that show all the things that we go through in our lives, you know, the understandings that we need to have. So we're going to move on now and start our actual reading, and we're going to start with the air signs. And air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So our first card for them is the word of the week, which is similar to our theme, collective thought for the week, but this is specifically for those air signs. It's a word to kind of give them something to focus on, a mantra perhaps. That word is regeneration. Regeneration. As a word of the week, I'm thinking this card means we are using our abilities to remake things, reform things, refire them to a perfection of usability for ourselves if they are no longer in that sense. So it's bringing ourselves back to health, bringing ourselves to a knowledge or a point of view. So think about that during the week, air signs. You may have to regenerate things to get them more in accordance with how things really should be in your life. So now we're going to move on to the actual reading. Whoops. And of all the things that I didn't remember and that I didn't tell my producer that I should have is, of course, a copy of the positions for my reading. But that's okay. I think I'm going to make out okay. So here we go. Now, the first card is what emotional happiness can you expect this week? So that is for the air signs. What emotional happiness will the air signs expect this week? And we have the Queen of Cups. And you couldn't get a better card for that because the Queen of Cups is sort of one of those higher points in the deck representing emotional satisfaction. Specifically, this may mean that we, air signs, are really finding our world is rocking for us emotionally, that we're just in charge of all of our emotions and we're able to make all of the best decisions about what our various courses of action with the emotional realms would be. So if we have to decide things for our children or for parents or for people in the neighborhood or wherever they're at, we're going to be firm but emotionally radiant in how we do that. We're going to really attend to our court, whatever that is, our family, our relationships, our friendly circle, our office, in the best way possible. And that this, in fact, is where we see ourselves being happiest, by being in control of all those emotional situations, tending to people as need be, helping people out, giving love and care. So our next card then is, what are the emotional surprises or challenges that you might face this week? And for that we have the Princess of Wands, and she's reversed. So the princess is kind of like the page. The correlations with the court cards are a little different in these Egyptian decks, or this particular one. So she's the Page of Wands, and she's reversed. This is kind of like a message that you're waiting on, that either comes to you and brings the wrong answer, the undesired answer, or maybe it's the fact that this message just doesn't really get there, or that it's coming too late to make a difference, or that there's something miscommunicated. Maybe it's what you understand from the message that is the surprise or the challenge. Maybe you had an idea that this message you've been expecting would give you a better idea about what to do in your situation, and it's not, and it may cause some actual emotional unhappiness. You may be sad because you might have to change course, you might have to do something differently than you really expected to, and you don't want to do that. So then finally, moving on, what will concern or affect the other relationships, the other emotional relationships in our life this week? That could be whether it's our primary relationships, or it's relationships at our workplace, or elsewhere in our family, or other situations. What concerns them? And it is the Ace of Wands, and it's upright. And I'm thinking this is probably okay. This is saying that people around us really need to start invigorating and challenging their lives and starting their new projects too. And that we may find that some of the people closest to us are getting new leases in their life, things that will really be happy for them, because maybe they've been cooped up inside for months, and now they're getting a chance to go out and do something. Maybe they're starting a new job. Maybe they're starting school back again. Maybe things are just enlivening. The Ace of Wands really is a good sign for everything to kind of just start budding again, just like a budding staff in front of you. So I think it's a good week for the air signs. I think that they have strong ability to regenerate and regrow, and to sit in control of their emotional lives, to help others as need be, and to find their own challenges are not that challenging, perhaps. So good week overall. So we're going to move on now to the fire signs. And fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And their word of the week is the Priestess. And the Priestess, of course, that inner word is wisdom, secret wisdom, or it's knowledge, it's understanding. So fire signs, I think, really need to figure out exactly what they can do to stay on top in the knowledge area, and to really work on the application of that knowledge. It's one thing to have knowledge, it's another, wisdom, knowledge, on what you can do to apply that. And so sometimes that person who is the wisest is not necessarily the person who looks it, though, either. And so the idea is that application of wisdom or knowledge has a lot to do also with quiet dignity and planning. Alrighty, so let's get on to our reading for La Fire Signs. So my producer has learned one of the most fundamental things about the show, and that is it's hard to take care of everything and take care of Sunny, who wants to dive on the table almost any time we're recording. That's the brakes, I guess. All right, fire signs. What will make your happiness, your emotional happiness, really socket to you this week? And I think it's the moon upright. And I think that's telling us that the moon, of course, is always favorable for romantic kind of situations, for love, for fortune. So it's also like shedding the light more on things too. So it may be too that what really pleases us this week, what is emotionally pleasing to us this week, the happiness, is that we find out about something or someone that we really have desire for, that we really are emotionally attracted to, and that maybe this situation or this person or this thing comes through with us, that it's really the light shining on that thing. Now, what will be challenging or surprising to us in this week then? And this one, of course, doesn't look quite the greatest. It's the Three of Swords. It's upright. And so it may be that although we have this great, joy or happiness here, there's this idea that there's something that is separating or rending or causing strife in our emotional relationships, or one in particular. And it may be that this is the challenging thing, is that maybe we are moving between not two relationships so much, but as just two qualities of relationships. That maybe there's a transition between where the level of the relationship is. And so if it sounds like, yeah, maybe it could be a downgrade, that's sort of what I'm wondering, if maybe for whatever reasons we have to make some plans in our relationship. We have to move to a different status quo. For some people, this could mean something like maybe a part-time relationship, a long-distance relationship, a on-again, off-again relationship, an open relationship. These could cause pain. This could cause separation. This could cause anxiety. This could be extremely challenging. But I get the feeling like there is a big status quo kind of situation that's happening. If it's not really affecting you directly, it may affect you tangentially, so watch out for it in any regard. Now, our final card is, what are the things that will concern our other relationships this week, whether they're children, parents, co-workers, best friends, lovers, spouses. And it's the Eight of Discs, or the Eight of Pentacles, upright. And I'm thinking that folks around us need to learn some stuff. Maybe they need some therapy. I mean, especially if it's coming to their relationships with you, their relationships with other people. There's sort of like a learning curve that's needed here for people to get back in the track. I mean, maybe, there's new parameters to relationships because of how things are opening up again, and maybe people are moving into different kinds of positions or status quos from what they had before, or just alongside anyway. And now we have to really come up with new routines, new procedures, new ways of doing things, maybe to satisfy that. And so that's what's going to concern these other relationships, is how to make it work, what they can learn to make relationships work, function better. This could be as easy as just saying we have to negotiate person presence within a field of people again that we didn't do a whole lot. So it's like, it's one thing about, making sure there's safety precautions, but there's also the emotional and the mental components too of all that. We've been hibernating for nearly a year from each other. So that's pretty much what I have for the fire signs. They have to really look at the wisdom and apply that very strongly to themselves and to the other people that they want to help, and that everyone probably to some degree, but certainly those around you, are going to need to learn, the new parameters of relationships. So we're going to move on now, and we're moving to the water signs. And water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And this always seems to happen for the water signs. They're the ones that are the most likely to get the consummation card. So the water signs, maybe they're completing something. They're arriving at a point, or what they need to think about is how they can consummate something, how they can bring the relationship to its conclusion, or at least some sort of sense of a conclusion. That doesn't mean it's ending, but the idea that it actually signifies it has begun and it is a thing. So you can apply that to non-emotional things too, of course, but this is an emotional reading, and so I'm thinking it applies mostly to the emotional situations in our lives. We're not consummating with every single thing in our lives, but we might have work to do in terms of bringing something to its point of where it needed to be. Rome wasn't built in a day, that kind of thing. So let's get on with the reading. What emotional happiness will the water signs find this week? The Four of Cups, and that's reversed. So the emotional happiness that you find this week is most likely going to be about how you've been thinking, meditating, planning on what you wanted to do, and how now you finally feel you have arrived at that goal of choosing, that you've moved from a point of just idle contemplation or wondering when you really would have that opportunity to where you can now actually choose, or you can actually focus. So this is what is the happy thing for you this week. Focusing on what you really want to do. What will surprise or challenge you this week is the Prince of Swords, which is more or less the Knight of Swords, and that one's reversed. So what surprises you, I think, is that you will find you can't really, despite having chosen, you can't really force things to be what you choose. You might still have to figure out exactly what are your vantage points for achieving your victory. So having chosen, you have to still work with what the prevailing energies are and situations are to figure out what it is you can do to make it actually happen. Not applying too much force would seem to be the basic guideline here, to just sort of let it happen the way it should. And then finally, what will concern those around you, your other relationships, your most strong relationships, the most spouses, friends, etc. And it's the Ten of Cups. And I think somebody around you, maybe a lot of people around you, really feel very happy and feel connected, feel emotionally buoyed, feel that something has happened, some achievement has happened. And of course, we were looking at some of that, the consummation, the achievement, the focusing on things, the not too little, not too much energy applied. And I'm thinking at the end of the week, all those folks around you in your environment feel like, woohoo, it worked out. We've kind of turned a corner on something. I'm going to just apply this to what probably would make most people happy, and that would be some sense of returning to the normal life that we used to know. Certainly, this is something that's worldwide. Almost anybody in the world could get that value from this in this reading. And so I'm thinking we are turning a corner. Things are going to get better. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. We still have to work with science. We still have to follow the right ways of doing things. But this is going to make a lot of people happy. And it's all because we really focused on those things. I mean, I sort of think like maybe the water signs are the ones that kick it into gear, that the consummation was about solving the problem and taking it to that status. And the Four of Cups says, you focused on it. The Prince of Swords says you applied the energies, and the Ten of Cups says everybody was happy. We all partied. So I think that was really cool. So now we're going to finally move on to our earth signs. And the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And their word of the week is apprenticeship. And so I think that the earth signs You're going to think about the opportunities that you can have to either be apprenticed or to apprentice with others, to bring others up a level, show them, instruct them, mentor them, or to do that yourself within some process. And in a more broader way, it just is saying that this is the process really of devoting yourself to mastering a task. And you can do that with a mentor, or you can mentor somebody to do that, but you can also do that for yourself. So pick your goal and focus on it and do it the best you can. Do the right thing. Don't say, I researched it for 10 minutes on the internet, so I'm an expert. No, go find the real books and the real information about it and study it. Or whatever it is. Maybe you want to learn how to crochet. I've been invited to a crochet group. I'm not going to do that, but I think it's kind of neat that I have those options now. I never would have had them before, maybe. So there. All right. I could always crochet myself a nice new beret to wear. Now, what is going to give us our earth signs their emotional happiness this week? The star reversed. It may be that I don't want to say, oh, there's no happiness here, but what it could be saying is that when you're happy this week, or what brings you happiness, is maybe the realization that to some degree everybody advances maybe together. There's no one clear thing that is going to inspire or pull us all together. There's no savior, there's no star, but the idea that we're just all in this together, that we all have to kind of lock horns and work together. And I think earth signs, maybe you're in a position to better understand that this week than most other people. And it may be really personal, that what is happy for you is the idea that you know you just have to do good work, that you don't need some promise of something, you just need to do the good work. Now, what in all of that is challenging you or surprising you then? It's the Two of Cups reversed. Now that does talk more to the emotional realm, and it could be saying that what is going to be surprising and challenging is that you're going to have some little bit of faltering or friction or slippage in a relationship. This could be something that's just really a good, strong friendship, partnership. It may not be a primary relationship. It could be something like a relationship with children or parents or family members, where it's the sense of that it's unconditional, that you can't just say, I'm breaking up with you, like you could with your wife or your husband or somebody. No, when it's your father or your child, you kind of have to just be there. And so this is just saying you are probably having some challenges with friction in these close relationships, where you can't really say, I dissolve the relationship. You just have to learn how to work on the trust. Then finally, what will concern some of those other relationships around you, those people who are your most loved ones, or your coworkers you really cherish, or anything like that. And it's the Six of Swords upright. And what concerns them maybe is that now at last, time has opened up for them a way of moving towards a better solution that they want to find too. That we're all looking for something that either inspires us or just says, do the work. But maybe for some of the people around us, they know too that now they have that freedom, that they can move towards a better status quo themselves. And so you should try to be helpful. Maybe there's a way you can mentor to them in that situation. Remember the apprentice card from earlier? But remember that, this is like I said, with that challenging of the Two of Cups there, maybe this, what you're seeing is the friction is also about the fact too that they need to make their moves. They need to move on too, and it's not moving away from you, it's moving towards something they need. So be supportive of that. And that's pretty much what I have for the earth signs. And so therefore, I have concluded another one of my shows, the Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. Don't forget to watch my partner Banshee's show, Banshee's Material Matters. Well, we saw that there somehow. What was that about? Anyway, so that'll be on in 2 days at 10 a.m. And of course, don't forget our live streams. Don't forget Goth Tarot. Don't forget Super Tarot Love Month. All next week. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next week.